Hi everyone, it's Gary here from Echidna Sewing, and today I'd like to introduce you to some absolutely incredible technology, the Brother Stellaire range of sewing and embroidery machines. And if you're in the market for a new machine, these are just sensational. There's an embroidery only version, which is the Stellaire XJ1, and it's a really popular model. If you're right into embroidery, big hoops, all that sort of stuff, check out the videos and all the information on our website for the Stellaire XJ1. If you're looking for a combination machine, then the Stellaire XJ1 is a sewing and embroidery machine. All the same embroidery features as this guy, but it has incredible sewing capabilities as well. So that's the Stellaire XJ1, embroidery and sewing, and the XJ1 is embroidery only. Check out our website, check out the deals. You're gonna love them. Okay, so here we are with the Brother XJ1 sewing and embroidery machine combo, and I've got this set up as without the embroidery unit at the moment. So what I'd like to do first is just give you a run through on what actually comes standard with the machine. Now obviously it comes with an embroidery unit, which I've got sitting at the back just here, and I can have that on or off the machine. So if I've had it running as an embroidery machine, I can simply go to sewing mode. The embroidery unit can stay in place and you can sew just like a normal sewing machine. In this case, it's not on, I've taken it off, and that's probably better for the demonstration here. Now, I will quickly run through the contents that come in the box, obviously the embroidery unit, but the XJ1 does come with 4 embroidery hoops. So you've got your standard 100 by 100 hoop, which is really popular, left chest logos and that sort of thing. We'll just pop that over the back there, we don't need that. We've got the standard 5 by 7, or which is the 130 by 180 hoop. So again, very popular hoop size. And the hoops, of course, slide on. They're not the really easy ones to get on. They're fantastic to use. And of course, they have the Stellaire markings, which you'll see all about that on the embroidery only version video. So you've also got the 240 by 240 hoop, which is 9.5 inches by 9.5 inches. That's a really handy size. So that's standard. And of course the big one, which is the 360 by 240, all with the nice simple screw attachments there. Good quality hoops, excellent hoops, and they're standard with the machine. So we don't need them at the moment because we are in sewing mode. Now it also obviously comes with a fantastic operation manual. So a bit of light bedtime reading here, guys. So, it's worth looking through and seeing what the machine's capable of doing. Plus the embroidery design guide. So that's got all the built-in embroidery designs if you're going to be doing embroidery, and all the color charts and everything. There is also an accessories guide. Brother has a load of accessories, and the great thing about Brother accessories and the feet is they're very well priced. I mean, they're probably one of the most affordable options in the market. It also comes with the embroidery placement stickers and grids for creating your own design, your own stitches in sewing mode, because that's another nice feature on pretty much all Brother computerized machines. So that's all included obviously in the box, but the really fun thing is when you look at the included accessories, it's quite remarkable. One of the cool things, many cool things, is it comes with the Brother exclusive Move It dual feed foot. And this guy is different to a walking foot in that it has a little tractor wheel that actually works as a pulling device, and it's controllable. This is very heavy. Actually has a motor built into it, and it plugs into the back of the machine. It just really makes a walking foot quite redundant in many respects, and all different types of presser feet available for this device. And when it screws onto the machine and plugs in, it basically sits there, of course, and gives you total control over fabric slippage or movement, and an absolutely remarkable product, and that is included as standard with the XJ1. So we'll pop that over there. Now the accessory case is fantastic. So you open it up like that, and there's a load of things built into the top. There's a few spare slots there for feet that you might want to add, but it does come very well equipped. The handy little Brother screwdriver here, which is positional, so you've got 3 different positions on that. And then there's a position up in the center there. It's really good for getting to your needle screwdrivers, your presser feet when you're changing over to embroidery, it gets on there. And it also, and I'll show you this while I got it out, it's great for if you ever have to nip up the screw on the embroidery frame When it's in position 3, that just pops over there and it locks in, and you can undo that, tighten that screw. Just a little tip, never over tighten those hoops because it is easy to do when you're using a screwdriver. Now, these little case trays here, they come out, but what's really cool is they don't fall out, the feet don't tip out. How cool is that? So you won't have feet all over the floor. They can be taken out, and then it exposes a whole heap of extra bits and pieces in here, including a straight stitch needle plate that is standard. There's the LED embroidery foot, so that casts the LED pointers to give you your needle drop positions. There's a spare bobbin case, so that's the embroidery bobbin case. I've currently got the sewing bobbin case in this machine. There's loads of spare bobbins, there's loads of, whoa, I've just dropped them everywhere, tools and the little thread lead-offs and screwdrivers and extra pins. In fact, there's also the stylus, and now I should get that out because I may end up using that now. So that comes standard. Everything, it's really well packaged and well equipped. And I'm just going to pop all that back in there. Standard feet with it, of course, is the standard J foot, the N foot for applique, and there's also the G foot. I think that's the overlocking foot. There's rolled hem, there's zippers, there's free motion foot. There's button sewing, there's an open toe free motion foot, lots of stuff. And all that's listed on our website. You can check that out on the brochure, actually, it should be on there. So great little accessory storage. And when you put your machine away too, guys, this is kind of cool because it is designed to sit perfectly in the cavity of the machine there, which is good. So that's standard. And it also comes with the knee lever. So you can use this to lift the presser foot if you really do like that more mechanical operation, but it has very advanced presser foot lifting functions on it as well, particularly great for quilters and sewers alike. Also, there is a foot control that comes standard with it, of course, and you can use the foot control, or you can just use the start-stop button. That's a common thing these days. Lots of people are actually moving away from the foot control to using the start-stop button. With all the automation on machines now, it's actually quite easy and quite achievable. Now, so that's a bit of what comes with the machine. It's quite well equipped. Let's have a look at the machine's dimensions. You've got a huge, over 11 inches from needle to throat there. So that's a big accommodating space for even the biggest of quilts. So if you're a quilter, this is a great machine for you, combining with all those fantastic feet that come with it. The machine, of course, is very handsome, has a huge 10-point-something inch screen. It's massive. It's currently in its screensaver mode, so I'm not going to touch that just yet. And if we lift that up, you'll see that the thread sits nicely in the front of the machine here, so it's easy to get to. Bobbin winder is on top, very easy threading. We'll quickly thread this in a minute. Looking across here, loads of buttons, but they're nice big buttons. That's what one of the really cool things about Brother machines is everything's accessible. The buttons are big, they're easy to get to, and everything makes sense. Now, if I touch the screen, it will go back into the standard menu, and you can see I've got sewing, embroidery, Disney, and My Design Center, because yes, the XJ1 does also include My Design Center, just like the XE1, and you can see more about that on the video for the XE1. I am going to go straight into sewing mode, so by clicking that button, it goes into the standard sewing functionality on the machine. But before we dig into that, we might just have a look at threading the machine. Now, traditionally, we always reach for the back of the machine to lift the presser foot. This has got a little presser foot lift button there, so foot is now up. I'm going to take that bit of fabric away. We're going to have a look at the bobbin system. It's a very simple bobbin system on this, and as I said, I already have the sewing bobbin case in here. Now, why do you have a sewing and an embroidery bobbin case? Because they both run different tensions. So you can set it up for sewing and you know it's going to be right, put your embroidery bobbin case in, and you know you're going to have good tension for embroidery, because it is a different tension for those two applications. And just to quickly show you how easy that is to do, I'm going to just move that back there. Lovely big accessory tray here too, by the way, guys, so I can slide that off. I've got accessory storage at the back, at the front. It's very deep and accommodating there. But I'm going to quickly show you how easy it is to take a bobbin case out. We just slide that little grey plate forward and we just remove the bobbin case. Actually, I'll do it with my other hand so you can actually see what I'm doing. So we just grab that bobbin case, take it out. It's a bit easy when you're sitting directly in front of it. Whoops, that's the bobbin case taken out. And I know that's the sewing bobbin case because there's no dot on the center of the the bobbin case holder there, or the bobbin holder. And there's also a little bit of like green paint, if you like, on the screw there. That's to stop that from vibrating and coming loose. And you really very rarely need to adjust that on the sewing bobbin case. Now, popping that back in, we just put it in like that, make sure it's set correctly. That's it, that's all there is to it. Pop the plate back on, push it forward, and we're done. So very easy to change bobbins. Winding a bobbin is super easy. You just simply follow the dotted line on the top here. It's all quite explanatory. I don't need to show you the full details of that. And you just simply engage the bobbin winder. Now, when you engage the bobbin winder, it automatically overrides the machine, and you have on your screen an option to start or stop the bobbin, or start the bobbin case winding, and you can also control the speed of the bobbin winding. And that's pretty handy, because if you wind a bobbin too quickly, you can often stretch the thread, and that gives you some grief on the actual wound bobbin. So I generally run it at halfway, and we just click OK. I don't need to start it because I don't need to wind a bobbin. I have already done that. Now, loading the bobbin in once you've wound it, there is a little indicator on the front of the machine here, a little indication on how the direction of the bobbin when you're putting it in. It comes off anti-clockwise, and this is one of the great features on Brother machines, is they have this quick set bobbin system, which is really cool. You just simply slide the thread around, bring it around, cut it off, and that's it. You don't need to draw the bobbin thread, and you're virtually impossible to jam this machine because of that feature. Now, threading the machine, and here's a little tip while I'm doing this. If you have to unthread the machine, never get into the habit of pulling a thread backwards through the machine. So currently my machine's threaded, and I'm going to take that off, cut that, and I'm going to pull the thread all the way through and show you just how cool this is to thread. I've got Resant thread on here. It's one of my favorite sewing threads, and we just follow the line. So 1, 2 comes down there, 3 is down there, you go up, 4 is there, 5, 6 is on the needle bar, 7 is just here, so we just hook that into 7 and then cut that off. And all I need to do is hit that needle threader button, and away it goes. That's it, nice and easy, threaded. How easy is that? How cool is that? Needle thread is probably worth the price of admission. All right, now currently I'm in sewing mode, but before I run in any further, I'm just going to show you something here. When you go into this setting here, which is your settings page, there's 9 different pages. If you want to look at the sewing functions specifically, just hit the sewing machine up there, and that gives you all your options on what you need, what you may want to adjust, including the light on the machine. These have a very bright light, and I'm just going to quickly turn that up. You can see it gets really bright, but that's too bright for our camera, so I'm just going to take that back down to 2. But if you're in a room that needs more brightness, you've got it. And you've also got your screen display can be changed as well. You can use a mouse on this instead of using your finger or this stylus. Go across to another screen here. That's all just your screensavers and eco modes, etc. It tells you your stitch count. This machine's only done 15,000 stitches. It's really quite new. And we're now into embroidery. I don't want to do that. I want to do sewing. Some nice features here. You can set the pivot height for the automatic pivoting functions. You've got free motion settings. Again, all Brother machines, whenever there's a black box behind a setting, that is the factory default. And if you're not sure about something, there's a lovely little button here that if you click it, it will allow you to set the machine back to normal factory settings, and that's really cool if you do get lost in the moment. So I'm going to turn these functions back on again because I like them on. There's great feature, this guys, it has an automatic fabric sensor system. So that means that the presser foot actually detects how thick the fabric is, and that in a very, very quick way, it actually adjusts the tension and the amount of pressure on the fabric, on the presser foot, to suit the fabric thickness that you're sewing. So that's a cool feature, and I generally like to leave that on. Yeah, a few more pages of information there. I don't need to get into that detail now, but needless to say, even though it's very automatic, you can be in total control. If you're a control freak like me, you can do what you want to do. So let's get out of that and let's have a look at just a couple of basic sewing functions. Again, I'm not going to, this video is not going to be too long. It's really just running through some of the key features because we will have loads of, there are loads of videos available on all these machines. But If you have a function that you'd like to dig into really deeply and know more about it, just let us know and we will happily sit down and create a video on that specific function for you and dig pretty deep with it. So it's just a matter of getting in touch with us, and you can do that by phone, email, instant messenger, all sorts of things there. But please don't be scared to do that. Right now, I've just got a simple bit of fabric here, plain woven fabric. I'm just going to pop that foot down, and you can see selecting stitches is really, really easy. You've got this lovely, huge, big screen, and what you see, what stitch you select is going to show right here for you. You can even change the color of that thread if you're wanting to see it in a different contrast. If you choose a zigzag stitch, it will show you there. I've got the ability to change the width, the length, the thread tension right here. There's so much information on this. It would take me a whole day to show you all the incredible in-depth features on it, so we don't want to get too deep at the moment. But that's the standard utility menu. There's menu number 2, which is more utility stitches, and more again in 3. Loads of buttonholes, guys. Like there is 15 or 16 odd buttonholes, automatic button sewing, automatic eyelet functions. You've even got the ability to sew sideways. But right now, I'm just going to quickly do a stitch in the center of the needle, the presser foot. And I'm going to turn on these 3 buttons, which I love to pieces. So we've got our auto reverse and lock off. We've got our auto pivot function, and we've got our scissors. And watch what happens. I'm just going to position that over there. I'm not using my presser foot here. I'm just using the start stop button, and you'll see it's green, which means I can hit the go button. And I've got my speed set about midway. Now, if I start sewing at that point, it's going to do a lock off stitch, auto back tacks. When it gets to the end of the seam, and I'm only going quite slow here at the moment, when it gets to the end of the seam, if I hit the reverse button, it will now lock off or reverse back tack, lock off the stitch, trim the thread, lift the foot. How cool is that? And so you've got that perfect little lock off auto back tacking at the start and finish. Now, if you're a quilter, you'll love this feature. I've stopped, I'm about to start again. All I need to do is hit the go button. I don't need to worry about the presser foot. It will automatically go down as soon as I hit that go button. And when we get to the end of the seam, if we hit the stop button, it will just stop with the needle down, foot up, ready to pivot. How easy is that? And I can adjust that foot height pivot. So if you're working on quite a thick quilt or something, you can have that much higher than I've currently got it here. And then all you've got to do is hit the start button again, or hit your foot control. Same deal, it will just start stitching. Then it'll stop, pivot, and turn around, and come back again. If we get to the end of the seam, just hit the reverse button, and it will lock off for you. Trim the thread, lift the foot, and you can take the work straight out. How simple is that? Now, of course, the other huge thing on these machines is the number of stitches. Now, I mentioned before, you've also got this ability to sew sideways, and you might think, when would you use that? If you had to just tack across 1/2 inch, and you've got this big item that you're working on, instead of having to turn the whole item around, you can do something like this. So I'm just going to hit that button there, and it's now going to stitch sideways for me. And how cool is that? Now, when I get to the point that I want, I can just stop there. I've now stitched a good inch sideways, and I can come back on different angles here. So if I wanted to sew down on an angle, it will now come down at a 45-degree angle. So you get the message there. You've got all this sideways stitching, and you can do that in zigzags as well. You've also got a mountain of dedicated quilting stitches, and 30 different stitches there. In fact, there's menus within menus. You just keep digging. And I have to say, when you're playing with a machine like this, or the XE1, or any of the fancy computerized machines, please, please don't be scared to push buttons. They're just incredible, and you'll find things that you didn't realize you could do. I still find things on machines and I think, wow, I wish I had known that 2 years ago, because there is so much it can do. You can program different stitches together, all sorts of things. There's also character decorative stitches. So if we click that button, it goes into a whole new menu, and I can click through all these lovely built-in decorative stitches. And some of the stitches get right out past 30 millimeters wide, because this machine has the ability to sew sideways. So let's just take that little one there. Now, it shows you the stitch there, but it also says to use the end foot. And I love this because people do get confused with what foot to use. So let me grab the end foot out of our little kit here, which it should be floating around. There it is, that's the end foot. Now the end foot is probably the most used other foot that you're going to have over the J foot. Let me just do a trim there and take that thread up, needle up, let that foot go, and I'm just going to change over to my N foot. And this is the foot you would use if you're doing applique and of course any of these decorative stitches. But what's great about this is if we pop this in here, we can see the stitch as it stands. You could program different combinations of stitches together, and these buttons here allow you to go off on different angles. So if you're creating a lovely decorative front for a blouse or something, and you want to come on different angles, you can stitch down with one pattern, then move across without actually having to reposition the fabric. It's really cool. Once you set a stitch in place, let's just take that little guy there. It shows you that there, and once we hit the go button, it will now start stitching. Now, if you get to the end of a pattern, so I haven't completed a pattern, but by hitting this reinforcement stitch, it means that once it gets to the end of that individual pattern, it will reinforce the stitch and stop. I'm now going to do a trim and lift that up. So it's very easy to stop. That's a perfect little pattern there, but I could have kept that going indefinitely, and hitting that button will mean that it will stop at the end of one of those patterns, which is kind of cool. So we've got pages and pages of beautiful built-in stitches. I can't remember how many there are, 700 something stitches in here, I think. It might be more. It's all in the brochure. So there is a fabulous brochure you can read online as well. And if you really want, we can mail one of these to you. So you just got to let us know. But all that information is online for you. And if we go back into our decorative selections here, so there's another menu of stitches there. And we'll go back and there's another menu of really big maxi stitches. These guys get really, really wide, and you can just have so much fun with these. And a lot of these stitches, I believe, can be used in embroidery mode too, so that's pretty cool. So let's go back to our standard page there. Oh, and another thing, let's go back to the home button here. Go back into sewing, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself now. Back into this guy. I also have the ability to create my own stitches, so you can actually choose to set your own stitch type. So I could hit the, let me see, set button there, and then I could go down here and go set, across here and go set. So I'm actually creating my own stitch. I'm just randomly choosing points here. And then we'll come down to there. So there's my new stitch that I've created, and if I want to test that, it will actually show me exactly what stitch I've created, and I can save that into the machine memory. So if you're really creative and you like to create your own French knots or entre deux stitches or hem stitches, you can, in this little device, create anything you want. Unlimited options with stitch count, stitch types. Let's get out of there. I'm going to run through a couple more quick things here. One of the perhaps the greatest features, we'll go back into sewing mode. We'll just get a straight stitch. Is you also have the ability to project a laser guideline. Now have a look at this. So hopefully the camera will pick this up okay. So I've got this red laser line now positioned in front of my presser foot, and that will stay on while I'm sewing. But the way this works is I can actually set that at any point in reference to my needle. So if I wanted to use that red laser line as, say, a 1/4 inch seam guide, I can. I would just change that to 1/4 inch down here, move it to where I want it to be, go back to that position there. I now have a perfect 1/4 inch between my laser and my needle stitching, or my stitching line. How cool is that? Also, use that if you're stitching in the ditch, for instance. Instead of having to watch the needle, you just keep an eye on the laser, and it will actually be guiding you to keep your fabric straight. So if you've had trouble sewing straight, that will definitely help you. So look, that's just a quick run through on the basic functionality of the machine. We threaded the needle, we've gone through the few buttons here. We've talked about the size of the machine. It's a beautifully accommodating machine. It is actually the same size as the Dream machine. So many of you would have one of them or heard about the Dream machine. This is the machine that followed after the Dream machine, exactly the same proportions. 5-year warranty on a Brother machine like this, 3-year mechanical warranty, 5-year computer warranty. Absolutely superb quality, best stitch quality you're going to get, super reliable, and most importantly, really, really easy to use. And that comes with this lovely big screen. Again, I could sit here for the next 5 hours and go through all the functions on this machine. But please watch the videos that are on our website, and all sorts of videos that are out there. If you go digging, you'll find them. And if you have a special request for some information, let us know. If you'd like us to do a more in-depth one-on-one demonstration, we can also do that remotely, particularly using the modern technology like iPhones and Skype and Zoom and all sorts of things. There's all sorts of ways we can do a one-on-one demonstration for you. If you're trying to make a decision on a new machine, just contact us or visit one of our stores, of course, if you're lucky enough to be close to one of them. But otherwise, that's the XJ1. Check it out on our website, check out the deals we have going, and let us know if we can help you with any more information. Hope that's been informative, and happy sewing. Cheers.